Hey, Jose here. So on this video, I'm going to show you, and I'm going to start updating videos once a week, focus on how to convert capital raising into simple e-commerce. I'm going to show you how to actually raise capital as it was 2025 instead of 2010, because the market is all dated. I come from the VC world. I came from a founder story as well, and fundraising hasn't really been progressing as other markets have. So this is our mission. This is what we do. So I'm gonna walk you through our step-by-step model. You don't have to pay anything. I'm gonna walk you through how to do everything yourself. And then if interested, you will see a way to book a call with us on the bottom of this video. So let's get started. First and most important, why should you trust me? Why should you trust us? So a little bit about our results. They speak by themselves. So pretty much in the past 3 years, I have been doing this for the past 3 years and a half, I would say, we have raised over $85 million from over 150 to 100 issuers, and we have done a little bit over 50,000 plus investment transactions. So all of them have been coming directly through us and through our technology. So that's how we have been able to track them. And we have been able to compile a database of over 10 million investors, mostly from the US. So a little bit about myself. My background comes from actually e-commerce. So this is how I have an edge on this market, because people weren't really thinking the way that we were. And when I talk war, it's because it's not just myself, it's a team. And so this is me after scaling and exiting my first company, my first e-commerce. While I was in college, I then joined Techstars Boston. I live in Boston, and I currently do. So after that period of time, I joined a VC, one of the biggest, if it's not the biggest, active investments in the world. Techstars, they have invested in, I believe, thousands of companies where they have actually wrote checks, and they have been able to help them scale. So after that, I actually joined a Series B startup, a clean tech, where I was the person in charge, and I actually led the whole Series B raise, where we were doing $50 million for them. After that, I actually saw from my experience in venture capital and raising capital for this startup all the problems that they were out there. Like, you would just do call outreach, you would try to get connections, you would try to have family and friends to connect you to VCs or previous VCs that you have had. So what if you're not well connected? So pretty much we're solving all these issues because we're updating how fundraising is actually done. And then for founders and people who don't have some sort of connections, they can actually make a lot of noise so they can get those connections. So what do I do now? I founded Space Funding and Founders Crowd. So pretty much we are on a mission to digitalize capital raising, and we want to raise a little bit over $1 billion for 1,000 founders by 2030. So I wake up every day, and that's what I have in mind, nothing else. So at this moment, we have done a little bit over $85 million, but those startups have actually gone and raised over $210 million after our relationships, which talks highly of us. A little bit about 2024. I don't want to share things previous 2024. So we got chosen as the most innovative private market investment company in 2024, and we actually also got and won a prize by Acquisition International, a quite big press company in London, as the Worldwide Finance Awards. So now let's focus on the solution. Like, how can I serve you? So pretty much what is possible via an online capital raise, and this is more educational. We actually work with Boxabl, but I want to open your eyes on what is doable nowadays. So the way to look at it is when a company goes public, when they IPO, they try to generate a lot of traffic. They try to grab a lot of attention, either through TV, podcast, whatever you want to do. But you pretty much are getting eyeballs to their shares. So pretty much the share price can go up. That's kind of the strategy that we do, but most focus on, okay, how to convert capital raising into simple commerce. So a few case studies. This company, they have been actually able to raise no millions and millions of dollars through thousands of retail investors, but they have also been able to grow the brand, grow the customer base, and really generate a ton of eyeballs to the product and to the race. So that's exactly what we want to be doing. Miso Robotics, they raised $96 million from at this point is 35,000 retail investors while closing very big contracts and generating a massive database of users and people who show interest so they could retarget it and they could use it over and over again. Boxable, they actually went from being extremely small 5, 6 years ago. They started doing online capital raising and they have exploded since. They went from being worth a few $1 million to unicorn status, raising a bit over 170 $70 million at this point from 40,000 plus retail investors while generating hundreds of pre-orders, contracts with the government, getting a massive exposure and building a massive brand. You just have to check them out. They have millions of followers in social media and they're growing and non-stop. They will probably IPO eventually within the years to come, which will make a ton of money for those investors that invested early. EnergyX, another one, $92 million. They have become extremely big, closing massive contracts with General Motors and companies similar to them because they're working in the lithium market. So they have been able to raise $92 million, but building a massive brand, very similar to Boxabl. And now another one that is doing exactly the same roadmap is more mobile because they're getting a lot of users while they're raising a lot of capital from retail investors and getting a lot of eyeballs. So what do you want to do in 2025 while you're raising capital? You just don't want to raise capital from venture capital, family offices, PEs, accredited investors, and so on. Those are great, and 100% you kind of want to have a percentage coming from that angle, but you want to be doing this at the same time because you are raising capital, of course, depending on your niche, but this works pretty much for any niche, and I will explain how. Because you want to raise more than capital, you want to grow your brand at a profit. So that's exactly what you do here. You want to build a loyal community, and then you want to secure long-term capital, all at the same time. So let me show you how our model works, and I'm going to show you with a clear example of what we would do if we were raising capital. So generate high quality traffic as I'm doing right now. So if you're watching this video, it's because you're interested in raising capital. So that's kind of what you want to do. We want a self-hosted white label funnel. So we convert capital raising and make it into an experience that is as easy as buy your favorite product online. So that's exactly what we do. So through an investor funnel, a self-hosted white label funnel, what we do is we actually show your brand. So you are getting all the exposure, you're getting all the reputation, and then we collect the data. We grow your database and educate them and nurture them why they should invest, what you guys do. Maybe they become clients, maybe they invest. A lot of different ways that you can actually nurture them. This is kind of how our system works. I don't want to make this video super long, so I'm going to focus a little bit more in case studies and then go directly to the point. So, for example, let's talk about a client, Tribel, social media app. We actually got them so much momentum that Elon Musk tweeted about them saying that they were going to acquire Tribel. That's out there. If you check it, you will find it. A $3.1 million raise from 8,000 plus investors. This was actually much bigger, but we ended up closing around $3.1 million. The main reason is because a lot of those investors hadn't completed their investment. Things that you can avoid, but this is not the talk right now. So how they raise more than capital? Let's look at it. So pretty much while we were doing this is an email coming from Omar, the founder. We actually got them a lot of interest coming directly from VCs, private equity firms, family offices that were directly interested in investing $10 million plus. Of course, we don't make the decisions. This is the CEO's decision. He ended up not closing some of them, and that's of course depending on the terms and so on. So you are actually raising capital here at your own terms, not at a professional investor term, which they usually screw founders. Not the majority of times, investors are great, but in some cases. How did we grow their brand? So we went from 150K followers to 385K. They had already a big database, but we grew them very quickly. How? Through paid advertisement. So long-term capital, why? So as I was showing you, we did a little bit over $4.1 million, and we ended up closing $3 million. We could have done $4 million for him, but there were some strategies that weren't done correctly. So things to learn from these capital raises. You just want to make sure that you're raising all your investors instead of letting these for the end. Again, we help with the whole process to make sure that this happens. So here's what happens when we launch together. We generated over 3 million views, 3 million eyeballs directly to Tribel. We generated a little bit over 80,000 plus leads, so people who show interest and they left their information. Number of investors, we got 8,000 and we raised $3.2 million, all while generating a lot of interest from institutional investors, all while growing the brand and their user base. So they went from 400,000 users, if I'm not mistaken, all the way to 600,000 plus. And if you find that his campaign, you're going to see it. All right. So how do we do it? So we generated high quality traffic towards Tribal in a lot of different ways. We have a massive database that actually allow us to be very, very cost effective by doing so. And then there is an exercise that we do very similar to e-commerce. So in e-commerce, you do what is called an ideal customer profile. Here, you want to do what is called an ideal investor profile. You want to identify who's your target in the sense for investors as well. And then once you know them, really scale by investing a lot more money once it makes sense to do so. So we build a self-hosted white label funnel to make sure that you're keeping 100% of the data. This is essential because otherwise you're not. You're just building someone else's platform and you're just giving them investors. Of course, you're getting cash, but you're just missing out on 100% of the data and honestly 80% of the results that you can get. And then convert them into investors. So let's talk about another case. One of my favorite companies, because I love football. I actually came to the US because of this through a scholarship. So Caledonian Braves, great story. Chris, the founder and owner, is extremely charismatic. He came to us, and one of the typical problems that founders have is they're either not being found or they need a lot of help with the storytelling because the conversion rate is not good. What I mean by that is either you're getting a lot of views or you're not. And then if you're getting a lot of views, maybe either your startup sucks and that's part of the problem, or you actually just have to improve the story and how you're pitching to investors to make it easier for them to understand what you're doing. So people, and mostly retail investors in this case, accredited investors are also part of this deal. They are converted through emotion. So you kind of want to create a powerful story that is led by someone. So people don't trust companies, people don't trust brands, they trust people. So any big company, you usually are going to see a big face behind him, behind that company. So this is the case. So for Caledonian Braves, we really focus on the founder, Chris, because he's very charismatic. He has his own mission, which is make this football club to a top level. So let's talk a little bit about what happened on this case. So we actually raised $3 million for him from 10,000 plus investors. But most importantly, we built a massive brand. So from a fifth division football club, he now has the following of first division teams in Scotland, winning them massive sponsorship deals and a global community of fans. And when I talk about a big global community of fans, massive one. So more than capital. Why? Because they grew their community from 5,000 followers to over 50,000 followers plus with all their social media, while getting big sponsorships like Le Cork Sportif, big brand in France, Sports Illustrated, having investors from the NBA all the way to big private equity firms. And they also got a massive interest from private equity firms, from very big accredited investors. So the founder and CEO Chris was actually handling a lot of this interest, but of course, all of that was coming directly from us. So they grew their brand, as I was saying. This is only their Instagram. As you see, it's a little bit over 40K at this point. But yeah, pretty much went from 2,000 followers all the way to almost 40. And then they secure incredible amount of capital in only 1 year. So they actually raised over $3.1 million. We could have done much more, but of course, we didn't also want to sell the whole club for Chris because that's one of the problems that we actually face. So here's what happens. We launched together. We generated 1.5 million views, 120,000 leads generated, 10,000 numbers of investors, and $3 million plus. So what did we do? Same thing. We created high quality ads. We converted that traffic to an investor funnel. From the investor funnel, we made sure that our client kept 100% of the data so they could continue scaling after our transaction, and then we convert them into investors. Another one of the biggest capital raises, if not the biggest in history, Boxabl. They went from being valued out of a few $1 million. You can check this; it's all online. I think they actually went to Shark Tank. I'm 100% sure, but I'm quite positive. So you can probably see the valuation at that point. So they went from being worth a few millions to unicorn status, and this was all because how much money they have raised online and how they have been increasing the valuation based on how quickly they were growing. And so over $150 million at this point is near $170 million from 40,000 plus investors. So they raised more than capital. Why? Because they won massive contracts. A clear example is a contract that they actually got through the government. Why? Because they generated so much traffic, so much free advertisement, because you're actually raising capital at a profit. So you're marketizing at a profit. Instead of wasting money and losing money, you're actually making money. And so now they're getting ready to IPO, but they have built a massive brand. Great case study in this end. They have raised millions. They now have millions of followers through all their channels: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. They have very big Facebook fans group chats. They have a Facebook group chat with over 30,000 investors, very active community. And that's kind of what you want to see. All while generating hundreds and thousands of pre-orders for their casitas and their tiny homes. So how exactly? Same way. We follow the same strategy. And as you can see here, a little bit about what it looked when they launched with us, but same exactly a strategy. And this looks pretty, but we actually have the technology to do all of this because this is a very regulated market. So you want to make sure that you're doing everything correctly. So we have a platform that allows from having an investor CRM. So we're focused only on investors. So it's very similar to kind of like Shopify or HubSpot, but only focus on investors. So take them to an investor funnel and then convert them. Another great case study was for a big football club in England. They are usually between the Premier League and the second division. So they raise over $9 million, making their fans actually own a piece of the pie. Same thing. I just want to kind of like show you everything. So more than capital, they grew their brand and very long-term capital because they were coming directly to the fans. So they actually are much more committed now with the club, and they were able to expand the club to the US, to many other locations around the world, which actually help with the loyalty of these fans. Uh, Same process, same system. So proven model with leading companies, proven model with a lot of more companies. So we have done so many seven figures. We have done eight figures. We have worked with public companies. We have worked with private companies. We have done it all, and it's always the same. So don't listen to me. I'm not the one here who you should trust. You should trust our customers. So many videos from a lot of them who were very happy with the results, and then over 151 reviews with an average of 4.8. So I'm just leaving this here. You can go to the link below, and you will watch. You can watch it yourself. So what do we do? What is space funding? So we're revolutionizing, excusez-moi, capital raising for founders. Okay, so this is kind of how our platform looks. We are pretty much the Shopify of capital raising. If you're experienced with Shopify or have ever done anything related to commerce, you will probably know how important it is to have everything in one place. So that's exactly what we do. So the problem that I was mentioning before, visibility and control in online fundraising. So lack of visibility and poor conversion. We fix them both, okay? And then the broken marketplace reality. If you're already raising capital through a marketplace, reach out to us. Our technology is extremely easy to build a bridge between the marketplace and your brand. And this is how we have done so many 6, 7, and 8 figures. All right. So very very simple in this sense, like just seeing how we would raise capital, making it very, very engageable. Because nowadays, when you go to a website, if it doesn't look extremely well, so we actually have incorporated a webflow in order to make everyone's life easier. Because if you're asking investors for money, everything has to be top notch. If it's not, you are probably going to turn them away. So all in one place, we have a section where is to acquire investors and see how much money you're raising, how many investors are going through, and then we have the other side, which is the platform, all the marketing, the CRM, the email software that we built within the platform, where we create email sequences and so on, give updates, give newsletters, etc. So a little bit more about our packages. You can check this later, but pretty much our minimum package is $5,750 a month, and we do it all. you can watch this later, just shoot us an email or leave your email on the link below, and you will be able to kind of learn a bit more. So just look at us as the Shopify capital raising. And why this matters, because nowadays you just don't want to only be raising capital. Of course, capital is essential to grow your startup, but what matters the most is the metrics, how you actually hack your fundraising campaign. Because when I was doing the Series B, the CEO pretty much stopped for a whole year just to raise capital. So you don't want to do that. You want to focus on the business while you're raising capital. Don't put your business in hold because you're raising a lot of capital, and it's essential for your business. You want to be doing both things at the same time. So that's what we do. So I hope you enjoyed the video. First one on what we do. I hope you enjoyed it. Any questions, I will be answering them. And yeah, I hope we can help you in any way. If not, just shoot us an email or contact us, and we'll be more than happy to help you in any way that we can. Have a great day. Night for me.